For this week's AfterWord, I just want to point out a couple things from the sermon this past week. You remember we kicked off the year of living compassion a week ago, and so this past Sunday I wanted to add a little dimension to that as we go through this first month on compassion. And so I look back at Aung San Suu Kyi's model of to see, to feel, and to act. That as a model into compassion. And I really wanted to examine, what does it mean to see? And not just to see the people who are in your life or are in front of you, but to see those who are suffering that are beyond. And that compassion requires us to do both. So I use some examples of people who are committing crimes or acting out in bad ways. And it's not to accept the bad behavior, but it's to see if we can find the suffering beneath the surface of the behavior. And what does that do? How does that change our response? So I asked the congregation in the sermon to do two things: to write a list, to think about all the people that are in their lives that they see who are suffering, and then to try to come up with a list of those who are suffering in the world who are not their direct relations or in their communities. And then to meditate on that into an idea of love. Now the sermon really had something to do with the difference between love and compassion, but in the end the meditation was that there is a love holding us all, based on Rebecca Parker, my friend and colleague's prayer. And to allow that practice to work on our compassionate eyes and hearts. So I ask you, what does that sound like? What does it mean to see with the compassionate eyes and the compassionate heart? And how do we move deeper into now feeling and acting? And that's the examination for the whole year, in effect. So that's the AfterWord. We hope we hear from you, and we hope you check out the sermon online.